75 cents.
Certainly have to respect our sports department. They break
That's for
their
sure.
share of exclusives. You had another one tonight. I bet you sent the other guys scurrying after they watched you at 6.
I don't know. Rob Lear did a great job on this thing. We told you at 6 o'clock, the Gunn brothers, the owners of the North Stars, had a little summit with Lou Nanne and some of the other North Stars brass last week and divulged some devastating figures. Over the last 2 years, the team has lost over $10 million, including $6.2 last year. Now, that's some serious money even for the Gunn brothers. They went on to tell him, hey, you guys have got to turn this thing around in the foreseeable future or we're going to leave. Now, considering this is Minnesota, where hockey is a big part of what this state stands for, could this be? Would they really pull up the stakes and leave?
Obviously, if we lost $6 million for the next 2 years here, yeah, they wouldn't stay here. I don't think anybody would stay here losing $6 million a year continually. But their thought is, let's make it work, and let's make it work in Minnesota, and that's all they want us to do. We got to get our season ticket base up. We got to get the people back in the building. We like what we see right now, the kind of attitude the people have. We think that they're in our corner. They're going to start supporting us. We certainly hope they are.
But are they? Tonight we took our sports soapbox out to Joe Sensors in Roseville and asked some of you about this North Star situation and whose responsibility it should be to turn this thing around.
Personally, I think it's management's responsibility. They should get the good players to play for us, and we'll come and pay the money to see them.
If not,
we ain't gonna see them. Minnesota don't watch losing teams.
I think Lou Nanne should be the first one out the door because this team has went downhill since going to the Stanley Cup in '81. And I don't believe it's a fan's fault. The ticket prices have went up, and the quality of the team has went down.
I think it's another ploy to sit and hope that people buy more tickets because now they're threatened by the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves are downtown, and that's going to be more convenient for a lot of people.
And if it is a ploy, how do you react to it?
To be honest, my play is I'm a season ticket holder now of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm looking forward to it. Great owners, local owners. They enjoy all the people here in the Twin Cities. I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
The overwhelming response, hey, it is not our responsibility as fans to support or help dig a financially troubled franchise out of a pit that they dug themselves into. We talked to Pierre Paget, and he said, you know what? The fans are right. It's our responsibility.
That's our problem. That's not the people's problem. You know, the people's problem is to pick whatever is most entertaining, and our job is to make it entertaining. I mean, we have to, the customers are always right. So whatever the fans want to do, they're welcome to do. Our job is to work harder and do a better job, man. I like to think I can do a better job than I did last year, and so can a lot of other people in the organization. And I think that's where the onus should be put right now.
Now, if they continue to lose money and the Guns aren't bluffing, how easy would it be for them to leave? Easier than you think. According to our sources, the Gunn brothers believe they have enough votes on the NHL Board of Governors to pull it off. And topping the list of cities, Milwaukee. Wow. Another distinct possibility would be Seattle-Tacoma. San Jose has expressed a strong interest in the team, as has Hamilton, Ontario. We'll have more on this for you as it develops. Jimmy Connors now has plenty of time for sightseeing in Paris because he's completely done at the French Open. Yesterday he lost
at Phoenix. KSTP, Minnesota's News Channel 5. Now, live, this is Eyewitness News with Randall Carlisle, Angela Astor, Sports with Mark Curtis, Dave Dahl's Weather, and the entire Eyewitness News team.
Good evening. Hockey fans will be shocked. We begin tonight with news that has just come in the last hour about the Minnesota North Stars.
There may be a big change in the wind for the team that didn't do so well financially last year. Mark Curtis joins us now to tell us about this.
You know, many times in sports, it's easy to forget that the franchise is a business. We cheer for them when they win, we boo them when they lose, but we do forget that there's always an office where someone is checking a profit-loss statement. Late this afternoon, Eyewitness News learned that the North Stars, the numbers on their profit-loss statement look like this. A loss of roughly $10 million over the last 2 years. And that prompted the Gunn brothers, the owners of the team, to call a meeting with the North Stars brass where they told them that they have to turn this thing around or the Minnesota North Stars could wind up playing their hockey somewhere else.
It's obvious you can't sustain a business with the kind of losses we've incurred over the past couple of years. Our mandate is to break it even. And we've got to do that within the next year or two. They can't afford to and won't afford to continue to lose those kind of dollars. I don't think anybody expects them to do that.
We'll have much more on this story coming up in just a few minutes, but I want to emphasize that we're not talking about the North Stars loading up buses after midnight, packing up the equipment and leaving town, but we're talking about a situation where they have to make this more solvent within the next year, certainly within the next 2 years.
Sounds serious. Thank you, Mark. Let's move on to other... The way people in our state love hockey, it's amazing to think that a hockey franchise wouldn't make money.
Well, you've got to win to make money.
Well, that's true.
Is, I guess, the bottom line. And they have struggled the last few years. As we told everyone at the top of the show, Eyewitness News learned late this afternoon that there was a meeting called by the Gunn brothers, the owners of the North Stars, last week to discuss the team's financial situation and its future here in Minnesota. Rob Lear's been working on the story all afternoon long, but I think we should point out before we do anything else that we're not talking about the team packing up shop this season, but the tone of the meeting was very clear. That is, turn this thing around or else we have no choice but to look elsewhere. Now, we're talking about a loss of roughly $10 million for this team over the last 2 years, including a loss, look at that, $6.2 million last year. Let's take you out to the Met Center right now where Rob Lear, you talked to Lou Nanne about an hour ago. What are we talking about here?
Well, I think what's at stake here, Mark, is that this North Star franchise is at a financial crossroad. Since the Gunns obtained this franchise about a decade ago, they have won lots of hockey games, but in the process, they have lost millions of dollars. Those numbers, no real surprise. We've seen those coming. But what is surprising is the fact that they've gone public to make the statement that they've got a 2-year timetable to turn this thing around. No, they're not going to threaten to pack up overnight. But according to North Star General Manager and President Lou Nanne, unless this thing gets turned around and the fans start to show their support, they may go play elsewhere.
It bothers us that we sometimes get taken for granted by some people or some businesses, but maybe that's just the nature of the business. When we look at what we've got to offer, and we offer an entertainment to a certain segment of the community, and hopefully there's enough of them out there, and we think there are, that want to see us play. We feel very fortunate that professional hockey in the NHL is in Minnesota. We want to keep it there. The owners want to keep it there. We need the people's support, and we're looking forward to getting it and getting it back.
How easy would it be to pick this team up and move it to another city? Louis tells me he already has President John Ziegler's blessing on that. Mark?
Rob, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Are we, in any sense, putting the onus, we meaning, I shouldn't say we, I should say the North Stars, are they putting the onus of responsibility on the fans to help this franchise turn it around?
Well, certainly that's the way that a lot of people are going to interpret this, but I think we've all asked the question, how is this market going to survive 4 major league teams? I think this is perhaps one of the first punches to be taken in this long ongoing sparring match that's going to go on. North Stars are getting tired of reading about all the money the Twins are losing, all the money it takes to build that Timberwolves arena, and perhaps the North Stars are finally going to take a stance. That's the way I read this announcement today.
Rob, thanks a lot. I'll tell you what, Twins are a tough team to figure out this year. They get swept at home by...